So Cisco UCS definitely has a different take on the server architecture, and we're going to talk more about the system as a whole. But in this case, we also offer rack mount servers that can be managed independently. And as you can see, this is our product portfolio here. It's ever changing, but this is a snapshot in time and fairly current on what our rack mount servers look like. Rack mount servers, and any servers basically, change configurations based on the needs. So for instance, if I need a web server, I might need a smaller server than if I need a database server, which is on the right over here, where I need a lot of processor and a lot of memory and maybe even a lot of disk. So we've got every different configuration here. They have different speeds of processors, they have different amounts of memory that they accept. For your data center CCNA, I would become familiar with the different models of servers and maybe even pay attention to some of the processor types and speeds, as well as the amount of memory that I can fit into different platforms. But you can buy a rack mount server by itself. You get the same type of management that you normally get with a server. You get out-of-band management connection, you can get to the BIOS, you can configure the drives, you can run applications on it. Same thing you can do with any other rack mount server. But on top of that, we have some special capabilities built in. One of the capabilities that I want to mention is that we used to have the capability, and we still do a little bit in some platforms, to expand memory farther than some of our competitors and run that memory at higher speeds. A lot of times as you expand memory up, you actually have to decrease the memory speed, and so you have to kind of weigh, do I want more memory and slower response, or do I want less memory or optimized memory and a faster response? And depending upon your application, you got to kind of weigh that out. But our memory expansion technology allowed you to kind of get the best of both worlds, and believe that's still in the C260 platform. On top of that, we also had what we call a virtual interface card. And this VIC card, or virtual interface card, basically allowed you to take physical hardware that was a network interface card and basically virtually create additional interfaces based on your needs for that particular server. So physically, I had two 10 gig connections to the physical network, just like most other network cards out there, but I could virtually create these virtual Ethernet adapters, as many as I wanted to, up to 256 for my application to use as I saw fit. I could also do the same thing with my virtual fiber channel adapters. So to the operating system, it didn't really know the difference. It looked like physical adapters to the operating system, but really it was just one card inside of my server that I could logically carve up. In the past, up to 100 plus PCI devices, and now up to 256 PCI devices. Here's an example of what it might look like in the operating system. As you can see down here, I see network connections for every adapter that I have installed. And in VMware, I can actually see those adapters as separate adapters that I can hand off to my virtual machines. And with the current technologies, that Cable One's technology, that unified wire technology, I know that my fiber channel adapters are going to get the right priority and the right amount of bandwidth, as well as the fact that I can manage those virtual Ethernet adapters across the wire. So our rack mounts have this capability in a number of different adapters. Here are some of the adapters that we use for our rack mount servers. You definitely want to get to know what adapters we have available and which ones take part in that virtualization technology we just talked about. Please join me for the next lesson, 1.4, Examining Blade Servers.